We are living through a massive reinvention of money. I mean, a once-in-a-century kind of shift. And this isn't just about a few new apps or fancy cards. No, the very idea of what money is and what it can do is being rewritten as we speak. So let's jump in and decode this whole thing together.
Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. What if every single transaction, paying your friend back for lunch, grabbing a coffee, even getting your salary, was as instant, as cheap, and as easy as firing off a text message? Well, that's not science fiction anymore. It's actually the core promise of a financial revolution that's already happening all around us.
Now, to really grasp just how fast things are moving right now, we kind of need to take a quick look back. Because the history of money, it isn't some slow, steady march. It's a story of innovation that just keeps speeding up. And the last few decades, well, they've been an absolute blur.
Okay, what's really wild about this timeline is how compressed it gets. I mean, we spent thousands of years with physical cash, then suddenly we start getting these huge leaps every few decades. But now, we're seeing entire new eras of money pop up in just a few years. That acceleration is impossible to ignore. So the first big jump away from cash was plastic. When the Diners Club card and the first ATMs showed up, money was suddenly disconnected from banking hours. For the very first time, you didn't have to race to the bank before it closed just to get your own money. It sounds small now, but back then, it was revolutionary. And then, boom, the internet arrived. And suddenly, our bank wasn't just a building down the street. It was a website you could visit anytime. This wasn't just about convenience. It was about totally collapsing geography. Money could zip across the planet in seconds. And that's what really gave birth to the e-commerce world we all live in today.
Right. So if the internet freed money from physical locations, the smartphone put it right into our hands. With things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and these massive super apps like WeChat Pay, payments just became this invisible, totally seamless part of our everyday lives.
But honestly, all of that was just the warm-up act. In just the last few years, we've seen this convergence of technologies that are completely rewriting the rule book for money. So let's look at the huge global trends that are reshaping finance as we speak.
Here's a number that I think really captures the incredible scale of this shift: 90%. It's a staggering figure, right? But 90% of what? That's right, over 90% of the world's central banks, we're talking about the institutions that literally control our money, are actively looking into creating a digital version of their own national currency. This isn't some fringe experiment. This is a coordinated, global move.
They're called central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs for short. And here's the really crucial difference you have to get. Unlike something like Bitcoin, which is decentralized, a CBDC is the official, government-backed digital twin of a currency like the US dollar or the euro. It's all about combining the trust people have in the government with the incredible speed of the internet. And look, CBDCs are just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. We're also seeing an absolute explosion in stablecoins. These are privately issued tokens pegged to currencies like the dollar, and they allow for 24/7 payments across borders. Then you have AI wallets that can start to manage your finances for you. There's a huge push for user-friendly self-custody. That just means you, not a bank, hold your own keys. And we're seeing new systems where compliance and rules aren't an afterthought. They're baked in from the very beginning. This isn't just a bunch of abstract technology. It's fundamentally changing how we think about and use money, especially for a generation that's never known a world without the internet. Just take a look at this. For Gen Z, mobile wallets are already the main way they pay. More than half of them use mobile wallets regularly, while cash, well, it's cratered to just about 10%. For them, the expectation is that finance should be seamless, instant, and just built right into the apps they already use every day. And this slide just perfectly sums up the shift in how we pay. The old models, paying for a big annual subscription up front, are being replaced by these super flexible new ones. Imagine streaming a movie and paying for it by the second, or listening to a podcast and paying by the minute. It's a huge shift away from one-size-fits-all to a world where you just pay for what you use, which puts way more control back in your hands. So, where is all this innovation coming from? Well, it's not just the giant banks or the big tech companies. Actually, some of the most exciting stuff is bubbling up from these passionate communities that are building whole new digital ecosystems from the ground up. It's this really powerful feedback loop. So a community, let's say it's online creators, they demand new ways to get paid. Then developers rush in to build those tools.
As the tools get better and easier to use, the whole ecosystem just explodes, which brings in even more users and developers. It's this amazing, self-reinforcing cycle of crazy fast innovation.
One of the biggest hurdles for digital assets has always been, how do I actually use this stuff in the real world? And that's where this card as wallet idea comes in. It's a simple but totally brilliant concept. A payment card that looks and feels just like your debit card, but it's linked to a crypto wallet. So when you tap to pay for your coffee, it instantly converts just the right amount of your digital assets into dollars or euros behind the scenes. It makes crypto spendable everywhere, instantly.
Okay, so we've been talking about a lot of these big, abstract ideas. Let's try to bring them all together and see how they actually look in the real world. We're going to use a platform called Pintopay as a kind of case study to see how all these huge trends are coming together in a single product you can actually use.
So platforms like this are essentially bundling all of these trends into one smooth experience. They often live inside apps people already use, like Telegram, so there's less friction. They offer global cards you can just add to your Apple or Google Pay wallet. And crucially, maybe are built around self-custody, where you, not some third party, control your own private keys. They're trying to be the bridge to a future with AI agents and something called DeFi, that's decentralized finance, where you could earn interest automatically. But at the end of the day, the real goal of these platforms is to make all that complicated technology completely invisible. The user shouldn't have to know about blockchain or private keys. Sending money to your family halfway across the world should feel just as simple and secure as buying a coffee down the street. And when you look even further ahead, the vision gets even bigger. As the CEO of Coinbase famously said, AI should have crypto wallets. And that's not just some catchy phrase. It points to the next frontier, a world where our AI assistants can not only talk to us, but they can actually transact for us, managing our finances, paying for services, maybe even investing for us, all automatically.
So we've gone from barter to blockchain, and the pace of change is just getting faster and faster. Our financial system is becoming more instant, more global, and more woven into our digital lives than ever before. So the real question isn't just whether your wallet is ready, but how all these new tools are going to reshape our world in ways we can't even imagine yet.